everyone. Hello, this is Tim Law with Planet Forward Coaching and Self-Reliance You. Remember, your life, your goals, your dreams, your career are all essential. Continue to apply combined wisdom to your life every single day. And please, if you haven't already, sign up for my YouTube channel, Planet Forward Coaching, and you'll be able to hear a lot of great advice and ideas from a number of people I'm interviewing. Very, very happy to bring a gentleman that I met years ago with he and his family up in Hancock, New York, a gentleman named Walt Easterbrook. Walt, welcome, and let's roll.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you having me here today, and hopefully we can give some value and some advice to some young people out there. What you want to talk about? Just the business and things that I've been doing for the last couple of decades, or
yes. Just give your background. Childhood on up, and let us know about kind of your story there.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So as Tim mentioned, Hancock, New York. If you've never been there, it's a small little town in upstate New York. So after high school, I moved to New York City. Big aspirations. I just was like, hey, I'm getting out of my small town, going to the big city to do something cool. Ended up getting into the hospitality industry, running bars, restaurants, things of that nature. And I found myself doing that for well over a decade. And I got to a point, probably about 35, 36 years old, where I thought to myself, something's got to give. I got to do something different. I was going to have a family, raise some kids. So I thought to myself, what else am I going to be doing? I don't want to be bartending until I'm 50, 55 years old. So I put my life on a different path. And I, instead of doing late nights in the bar industry, I thought to myself, I want to create something of my own, work for myself. So I started creating a business with more of events related, bringing people together, experiential kind of stuff. And that happened, right. And this is something, Tim, I recommend you don't do, is have a full-time job, start an entrepreneurial business, have a baby, and move into a house out of that state all at the same time. So I tried to do that all at once. It was quite a disaster for a couple of years. But the thing I did do for about 2 years is I learned, I failed, I learned, I failed, I learned, I failed. I partnered with about 4 different people that three of the 4 still owe me money till today. So I really went all in on life experience and trying to create this business of mine. And it took me about 2 years before I was actually even able to create my own business, which is the Bowery Collective. And it took me another 2 years after that to even make $1. So my journey took me about 4 years to a point where I was actually had a business that was paying myself. And then year after year, I kind of left the hospitality industry of bartending and running bars and restaurants to having my own business. And that has grown over the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years to more experiential events. We do big events all over the country in DC, Texas, Atlanta. We're going to be doing this year in New York. So I went from bartending to not really knowing what my life was going to be to going on a whole different trajectory with entrepreneurial, growing my own business. And then this past several years, I started doing more mentorship with younger bartenders, because a lot of bartenders in my industry said, hey, Walter, I see you've been doing this. I see you own your own business. What can I do to get above and beyond that? So I started doing mentorship programs the last 3, 4 years, and which has led me to this past year, starting my own personal development business to help individuals grow beyond their own personal expectations. So I wanted to be, when it's all said and done, Coach, I wanted to be known for more than just the happy party guy. I wanted it to be known as somebody that's actually helped other individuals. And I think it's important as your own personal business grows to give back to that that sector of your business that you were part of. So that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half, is growing my own personal development business.
Fantastic. Well, one thing I've always known about you, Walt, is we've known each other for a long time. It's great getting to reconnect and everything. And I'm a big believer in, a good work ethic, people skills, and, going above, going the extra mile, as well as to getting a skill. You've hit all those key areas. What is some of the best advice you could give to teens and young adults regarding whether it was their own business or their work ethic as far as a career is concerned? your thoughts along there, because again, I've always known you as a person of great ability to personal power, taking action in your life.
Yeah, and that's one of the things is definitely taking action. I always tell people it's not even necessarily follow your passion, but always pursue happiness.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people graduate whatever and they have to get on this certain journey, right? I have to go buy a car and a house and get married and to do these things that I'm supposed to do in life, and then they're not happy. So it's like, find the things that you love. Like I was able to grow a business and did it for 4 years without making any money because I loved what I did. I
Mhm.
was very passionate about it. I was excited about it every day. There's nothing worse than waking up at whatever age and being miserable in life. So one, definitely pursue happiness at all costs. Don't necessarily listen to mom and dad. Um, I'm sorry, that might not be the best thing to say out loud,
Right,
but
and you've got two incredible parents too, Walt, because
amazing.
I know them.
Luck,
They're phenomenal.
yeah. Luckily for me, my dad was like, you want to move to New York? Great. Go get a job, pay your bills, don't get into debt, and go do your thing. So he definitely pushed me towards go figuring out my own kind of thing. But too many people have the same people around them all the time telling them what to do, and they don't get out of their small town, or they don't get out of somewhere. And not saying you have to move out of that town, but you have to find people that are not just in your inner circle all the time telling you what to do. You have to get out and explore. And the best thing that happened for me when I wanted to be entrepreneurial, I surrounded myself with entrepreneurs, CEOs, tech guys, people that were coding in computers. I understood none of this stuff, but I put myself in this situation where I was now the dumbest person in the room. And I stayed in that room and I asked a lot of questions, whether people thought I was dumb or not. I didn't care. I wanted to learn.
Mhm.
So I got out of my comfort zone and surrounded myself with people that I knew I could extract information from. So I think that's super important. Is don't necessarily listen to people near and dear to you, but find yourself into different comfort zones. And with that being said, Tim, one thing that helped me is I'm I'm not really a book smart kind of person. I was a straight D student. I got a B once, and my parents thought I cheated. True story. Straight C's, I mean, straight D's is really what I was. And when technology started to develop over the last 10, 15 years, it really helped me. Like, so using my phone, the notes, the calendar, I was able to get more organized. And the one thing I do is I'm all just self-taught, right? So I will Google anything, YouTube. I found very inspirational things. There's a guy, his name is Evan Carmichael, and he does people's top 10 rules for success. So
Mhm.
I started watching all his stuff, and he has everything from Oprah to Mark Cuban to hip hop artists to basketball players. And pretty much everybody says the same thing. Now, obviously, Mark Cuban and LeBron James are saying different things, but the wording is completely different, but they're kind of saying the same script for their top 10 or kind of the same thing. So I listen to other people, podcasts, YouTube. I draw inspiration from people that are not close to me, that are not my neighbors, that are other people that I can follow into their footsteps and follow their blueprints. And I think that's super important, is just to find people that inspire you and try to emulate them a little bit.
Mhm. I love what you're saying, Walt, about the pushing through your comfort zone, because it's been shown over and over again that if you stay cocooned in your own little world or whatever, you can't grow. There's just no way. You have to be able to go out there and step out of your comfort zones. I was a high school and collegiate wrestler and beyond, probably in 250 matches. And believe me, when you walk out in that
Mm.
mat and you're going against somebody who's a top competitor, that's not real comfortable, trust me. Okay. And so the idea of pushing through your comfort zone, whatever it is, and listening to other people that can help get you through those comfort zones. Whether in my case, let's say it's technology. I took a course last spring for like 4 months during the COVID shutdown, and that really, really helped. And obviously, you going into the different things that you've done, it made a big difference, because, like to say, when we're ripe, when we are ripe, we rot. When we're green, we're growing. And you've been staying, very, very green. So, I applaud you for that.
Thank you. And that is 100% true. And I'll tell all the young folks, the more you do it, the easier it gets. When I started doing my business, I was not computer smart. I mean, I remember buying, and I have one here, an Apple computer like 8 years ago. And these are the easiest things in the world to use. I remember like turning it on and being like, all right, how do I copy something? How do I paste something? I had no clue. And this is only like 8, 9 years ago. I had no idea how to do things, but I knew in my head, and every time I have a hard task and get over it, I feel so good. But now, Tim, I tell you, when things come at me that are super hard, I'm like, let's go. Because
Mhm.
I know what's going to happen on the end of it. I know I'm going to get through it. I know I'm going to figure it out. And I know I'm going to be a better person for it. So it's kind of a weird thing to say. I almost relish these hard things coming at me right now because
Mhm.
I know what I'm going to do with it. And I know the feeling afterwards. It's almost like working out. Or if you go for a run, right? No one wants to go for a run. But after a 5K, you get home, you're sweaty. How do you feel? You feel amazing
Mhm.
afterwards. It's the same thing with life, and it's the same thing with hard tasks. They're really hard to do, but once you do it and get over it, you feel incredible. So I almost kind of relish it now. But in the beginning, it's hard to do. But if you could just get through those one or two obstacles that are hard at the beginning, everything else gets easier afterwards.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Well, and there's one of the things that I've learned that, in the personal development field too, and it goes right along with that, Walt, is there's two keys to anybody's future success. Always be willing to learn and always work to develop and improve your people skills. If you do those two things, that you're not,
Mm.
people want to be around you, they want to help you, that type of thing, and vice versa. And so it's just so important to understand. And then there's two other ways that we really feel good about ourselves, and one of which is in our own personal accomplishments, that we're getting things done, like you're saying, and then also being able to get along with a wide range of people. You do those two things, and life really flows, very, very well.
Yeah, I agree. There's a good book. I mean, it's an old book called Think and Grow Rich, and one of the, I mean,
Yeah,
many good things in that
Napoleon
book.
Hill, Napoleon Hill, great read.
Amazing. I try to read it every year actually,
Hmm.
because I meditate on exactly what the teachings are in there. But one of the things they talk about is to put together a mastermind in your life, and that's what I try to do too. And I going back to like, don't listen to your parents. Listen to your parents. They're great people. Mine were, but I have 3 or 4 people in my life that when I have an idea, I go to them and we
Hmm.
talk about it. And they're not like my mom. My mom is like, she wants to keep me safe. I have other friends that are like, you're amazing, Walter. You're the best. These people are like, oh, cool idea, Walt. Did you think about this? Did you think about that? They start peppering me with all these hard questions. And it's
Hmm.
like, okay, they set me straight, but not in a bad way. They inspire me, they keep me going, but they really give me that honest feedback. So young people, like I really try to get, again, we talked about it, getting out of your comfort zone or around your friends, but put some people in your life that you can go to that are going to give you not tough love, but just give you good, honest feedback to say, hey, that's a good idea, but did you think about this consequence? Did you think about this? Did you think about that? So putting together some mastermind that's not just your buddies and your friends, I think is super, super helpful. It took me like 40 years to put one together, but now that I have one, I just literally have these same people that I go to and they give me some really cool, good, honest feedback that help me grow. So yeah, put together a mastermind and it'll be super helpful for the rest of your life.
Right, right. Well, and as I said, anybody that, you bring up that book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Just, I mean, he was really the granddaddy of the personal self help movement. Because then you had Dale Carnegie come after him, Zig Ziglar, Tony
Yep.
Robbins, Brian
Jim
Tracy. I
Rome.
mean,
Yeah.
tons of
Yeah.
guys. And but Napoleon Hill was the granddaddy because he mentored under Andrew Carnegie,
Yep.
who introduced him to Henry Ford, Harvey Firestone, and on, Edison, et cetera, et cetera. And that's exactly what they talked about all the time, was forming that mastermind group. You don't want to be in with an easy crowd, because an easy crowd won't, they'll go the path of least resistance. They're not really going to help you, grow and achieve what you want to do.
Yeah. And like I said, if you want to become a faster runner, race people who are faster than you. Like you're not, you're never gonna. You just keep beating the same people. It's like, yeah, you're never gonna grow. So don't be afraid to be the not smartest person in the room, the not fastest person in the room. All that's gonna do is help you to be a better person and to grow. And I actually, there are people I think now that are a lot of anxiety a lot of people are struggling. I'm sure the young people not going to school
Mhm.
is really, really tough. And a lot of people like to tell other people to say, you're okay, you're perfect the way you are, everything is great. And I know they have their best interest in heart, but I'm almost kind of the opposite. If you feel like you're not okay, maybe you're not okay. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. If you wake up and you're like, I want to be whatever, I want to be smarter, I want to be more in shape. Like I don't tell you, I used to be one of those people, Tim, that would be like, oh no, dude, you're awesome. Now I'm like, hey man, like you want to be better? Let's go get better. Like, and I think so many people want to hug them and tell everyone they're awesome. But I think what you're supposed to do is say, hey, if you're struggling, maybe there's something that your brain and body wants to do. So maybe you should explore that and be better. So I just think if something subconscious is inside your head that you want to do, go pursue it. And everyone around you, all your friends, like I'm telling friends right now, don't just tell people they're awesome and they're great. If they think they want to be better at something, help them be better.
Mhm.
Don't lock them in. There's a good story about a lobster. You know anything about the lobster story, Tim?
Go ahead and fire that one, Walt.
Yeah,
Maybe I've
sorry,
heard it. I don't know.
I'm rambling now, but a
No, 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 no. It's
lobster,
great. This is great.
yeah, a lobster holds a shell, right? And
Mhm.
when it's growing, the lobster will grow, but the shell won't grow,
Mhm.
right? So if you tell a lobster, hey man, you're okay the way you are, or you give them a pill, right, to mask it, they're they're going to just stay that way. But what a lobster does is a lobster will go and hide. It will get rid of that old shell. It goes and hides, and it grows a bigger shell, a better shell, a stronger shell, something that's more conducive to their life. And then they come back and live the rest of their life. And they keep doing that. They keep getting rid of the old shell. I think humans are the same way. When we feel uncomfortable, right? Instead of like going and getting a bigger, better shell, right? We just, oh no, I'm okay. I'll take a pill to mask what I'm feeling. What you're supposed to do is get rid of that old shell and put on a bigger, better shell and keep moving on in life. You're supposed to do that several times in life.
Mhm.
Um, it's a cheesy analogy, the lobster story, but I love it because I just feel like us as humans, we are too comfortable in saying, nah, you're perfect the way you are, or just take this pill or take that pill
Mhm.
and you'll mask it. We're supposed to get rid of the shell, grow a bigger, better shell, and keep moving on in life.
Yeah. Well, very well said. I have not heard that before, Walt. I love it. I am going to steal it from you. It
Do
is
it.
great
It's
stuff.
not mine. It's not mine. I stole it from somebody else. I think
Okay.
it was
Well,
it was probably Simon Sinek or somebody. I don't remember.
yes, Cynic is excellent as well. Walter, this has been fantastic. Yeah, are there anybody that you would like to, kind of point out has been some of your role models before we kind of conclude here?
Along the way, like you mentioned my parents, I mean, they were always very like accepting and just go do your thing. You know what I mean? So that was awesome. Tim, you actually, I don't remember if you remember, you tutored me when I had my surgery. You came to my house
I
and
remember, Walt. Yes.
you actually, and I keep this to today. You always, well, when you said a couple of different things. One, whenever I was thinking about something, you always said to look up to your left, to try to, I don't,
Visual remembered
visual
for memory. Yes.
visual memory. I lived that I was in seventh grade when you taught me that. And then there was another thing that I didn't realize. I mentioned how bad I was as a student. I realized over time, almost when I got into college, is that it's not that I was that bad. I had ADD, and I couldn't even understand the question. And what you used to do with me is you would reframe the question for me. So you'd almost read it to me in a different way. So I kept that with me today. I understand there's sometimes that I read something, I don't even understand what the question is, so I can't find the answer. So I try to reframe it,
Mhm.
or I try to read it out loud to myself, and then I write it down. That's something you used to do with me all the time. You would just read the question kind of differently, and I'd be like, oh, okay, now I understand the question. Now I can get the answer. So now that we're reconnecting, you back in the day helped me with a lot of the things that I do today, not knowing that I had sort of this learning disability, whether you want to call it ADD or not. But that's something that I've lived to keep with me. But there are a lot of people that I listen to now, and I go back to like the guy Evan Carmichael, who does a lot of stuff. Simon Sinek is somebody everyone should check out. I listen to a lot of David Goggins as far as working out goes. Jocko Willink. is somebody big that I listen to. Mel Robbins, female she does a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shoot yourself out of bed kind of thing. So there's a lot of people on the high level, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Art Williams. There's a lot of Tony Robbins. Those are people that I'm kind of one of those people, dude, that I'll get on my bike and just throw some old Jim Rohn on and like literally just listen to it for like whatever, as subconsciously. But those are people that have helped me kind of think differently. Before I was just kind of randomly doing stuff. And then now listening to those kind of people, I'm like, oh, those were successful people. And most of those people that I just mentioned were people that were like Tony Robbins was dirt poor, came from nowhere. They all were. They're all dirt poor, self-made millionaires, billionaires. And then I think to myself, I could, Tim, listen, we could sit back here and be like, I'm from a small town and I didn't get a good education. I can make all these excuses, or I can look at all these inspirational people and say, they did it. How did they do it? I'm going to go emulate their actions. Take, as Tony Robbins would say, if you want to take the island, burn your boats and you'll take the island. That's what I'm doing, man. I'm burning my boats. I'm taking the island. I'm taking massive action and I'm just going for it. Instead of having tons and tons of excuses, which I could have because I'm from a small town. I got straight D's, whatever. I choose not to live that life. I choose to live a life moving forward instead of looking back at my past.
Yeah, very, very well said. And you, again, everything, we're kind of going back and forth here, and you're spurring some more thought. And Zig Ziglar
Go ahead, man.
Zig Ziglar had a great line, and you're certainly personifies this, Walt, is that you want to be a meaningful specific, not a wandering generality. In other words, I guess I'll get, what am I going to do today when I get up? Just be a wandering generality. And, maybe I'll do this. Maybe I should get some breakfast. No, yet you're a meaningful specific where you've got goals and, and those, the dreams that you have a deadline on them, and that's called a goal. And so then you have a direction as far as your life's concerned. And the coolest thing I ever heard about goal setting is this, is that goal setting allows us to control the direction of change in our life. That is so huge. Goal setting allows us to control the direction of change in our life. And if we have that concept, we've had some change this past year with COVID. I mean, it's been a challenge, but just the idea that we put this armor on, that we have this goal, that we're moving towards certain things, follow our happiness, follow our passion. It's just so incredibly important, Walt. And this has been fantastic. Really, really appreciate this interview. We kind of snap, crackle, pop here together. This is great stuff.
I love it, man. I love the back and forth. So it's always nice. I appreciate you thinking of me and having me here today.
Absolutely. Now, Walt, if people want to get in touch with you, regarding, your business, your personal development business, what's the best way for them to do so? Personal development, it's walteasterbrook@gmail.com. And the website is easterbrook.life. So that's kind of for the personal development. My other business with the events is called the Bowery Collective. It's just bowerycollective.com. But yeah, like I said, those are two businesses that I've started. I used to be a bartender that decided to make a change in his life. And that's the journey I'm on right now. Excellent. Well, Walt, if you would hang on for a second, we'll chat for a second after I turn off the recording. Thank you so much. This has been a high energy, back and forth, just stuff that we like. And awesome catching up with you, and all the best really to your wonderful family, with your mom and dad and Tracy and Eileen and Katie, great young people as well. So please give them my very best. And we just gave them a shout out. So now they're going to have to watch. They're going to have to watch this. So anyway, thank you so much. I love it. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Hang on, my man.